Hi everyone, Eugene here at Panasonic, and in this quick video we're going to go over 6 tips for getting started with using your LUMIX camera. Right here in front of me I actually have the S1 Mark II and the S1R Mark II, but please keep in mind this is applicable to other LUMIX cameras as well. Now the first thing to keep in mind, I guess, before even going to the tips is that you might have a different kit. You might just get the body and the lens. For example, in my case, I have the 20-60 lens. I have the 50 S Pro 1.4 here. But again, just keep in mind what I'm showing you applies regardless of that, because the lens is just going to affect your optical perspective when you take your photos. So with that in mind, the first thing to keep in mind when it comes to a kit, the body, or just purchasing a lens is the operating temperature of that particular device. So please make sure to consult the operating instructions on the camera or the lens to make sure that you have the right temperature and you're using the product in the right conditions so that it doesn't get damaged and you have the best use of it long term. The second thing to keep in mind is that you want to check if you have the latest firmware on that particular kit. Again, it applies to the lens and to the camera, so there's going to be firmware updates released separately for both. And just so you know, we're going to have a video going through how you can also update the firmware on the camera here on our channel. Now, the third thing is that obviously you want to charge. When it comes to the actual camera body, you want to charge that camera. So even for charging, please make sure that you're using the right gear and the right equipment that is coming within your box, and you're not improvising, because that could also damage the product long term. And you might not get the best results as well in terms of performance on the battery. Some cameras allow you to charge directly, so you can just plug it in, or some will use external chargers. Make sure that you use the right model numbers and the right parts. We actually have an online accessory store, so you can go and get the right ones from there. Now, the fourth thing is, of course, you need some kind of recording media. In my case, I'm using a CF Express card, but in some cameras you're going to have an SD card. And please keep in mind that there's different formats and there's different speeds for the cards as well. So make sure to consult the operating instructions and find out what is the maximum capacity and the maximum speed, or the minimum speed for that matter, for your camera. Now, once we checked all of these, the next thing to do is to familiarize ourselves with the actual camera and the physical buttons and how we operate it, and the menu and the actual settings. So in this video, I'm not going to have an exhaustive overview of every single one of the buttons and every single one of the menu items. You can find out more about these on our channel. But the key ones, of course, are going to be the following. So when it comes to the buttons, I'm just going to move this over here so you can see a little bit easier directly on the camera. So I'm going to turn this way. But essentially, you want to know where your shutter button is. Over there. We have, this is basically for photography, if you're in a photography stills mode. We also have a video button over there. We then have the mode dial. So you can see here our familiar modes: manual, shutter priority, aperture priority, program, intelligent, auto, and so on. We also have these two little wheels that allow us to switch and set the shutter speed or the aperture. Going to the left-hand side, we actually have the drive mode dial, So this one allows us to, again, set burst, single, and so on. And on this model, we have a slightly different dial to switch between stills and video and slow and quick modes. So those would be the main buttons to familiarize ourselves with. And now we're going to go into the settings, and we're going to have a look at the actual menu items. So it's going to open up the screen so it's a little bit easier for me to see. You'll be able to see exactly what the camera sees through the magic of cutting to that particular input. I have an HDMI connected, so you'll be able to see exactly what I'm seeing. So we have the menu button. Pressing that will take us into the menu. And right now, because I am in a video or motion picture mode, The first settings that I'm getting are actually for that. But if I were to switch to stills with that mode dial and then go back into the menu, we're going to be able to see the settings for pictures. So the first thing to familiarize yourself with in terms of the settings is, of course, we want to make sure that we have the right aspect ratio and the right recording file format. And then we're going to go and have a look at the video as well. So in photo, if we just go here in image quality 1, we can go to aspect ratio, and this allows us to switch the format. Again, it depends on what we are trying to achieve. And then we also have the recording file format here. We can switch between JPEG, RAW plus JPEG, or RAW. In my case, I am going to stay on RAW. And actually, when it comes to the newer models of cameras, we have another type of compressed quality, which is the HEIF. So we can actually go here, for example, if we want to go to JPEG, we can switch here to HEIF, which is a better compression. It's going to take a little bit less space whilst maintaining really good quality. So those would be the main ones for photo mode. I'm going to switch back to video, and then going to the menu again for video. We're going to head out and up, and that's where we can find here image format 1. And two of the main things to keep in mind is the recording file format for video. We got MP4, MOV, Apple ProRes, and then the recording quality. And this is where we have all of the combinations between resolution, bit depth, and the frame rate all in one place. So we can cycle through these. And again, we have separate videos going through how these work. So those would be the main things that you want to keep in mind for getting started. And please note that we actually have a lot more videos here on the channel going through a lot of these settings. And of course, the operating instructions is actually quite detailed, so you can use that as well. You can download your digital copy. And also, if you're interested in the S1 Mark IIs or any other LUMIX cameras, please keep in mind we sell them direct on our online stores. So head over to the description to find out the links there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.